Hello and welcome back to another video on the recent WWE releases. In this video, we will look at the names released and try and decide where their next location will be. Will it be AEW? Will it be New Japan? Will it be Impact? Will it be Ring of Honor? Find out here. Or could it just be Independence? Let's get straight into it. And our first name is Drake Maverick. Drake Maverick was brought in to be the general manager of 205 Live, the Cruiserweight division. And when that kind of stopped, he moved into the 24/7 championship picture and had some genius moments with R-Truth, as well as peeing his pants with the Authors of Pain, but we'll gloss over that. And I don't know if she saw his video this week, but very emotional, breaking down in tears over what happened, claiming he will wrestle his last 3 matches because he's still being allowed to compete in the NXT Interim Cruiserweight tournament. Now, I don't think Drake will be able to wrestle for a while, unfortunately, with the current situation, but I still think he will end up somewhere. I was going to say maybe on the UK independent scene, but there isn't one of those now because of NXT UK. But I still think Drake will end up wrestling somewhere. So my prediction is I think he's going to return to Impact Wrestling. Our next wrestler is Curt Hawkins, who of course was famous for going on his undefeated streak before ending it at WrestleMania a couple of years ago in a tag team match against Zack Ryder, and he hasn't really done much now. Curt's kind of coming towards the end of his career, and to be honest, I can't really see him wrestling too much more. So I think he's probably going to retire and maybe become a producer at a certain company. Moving on now to the Good Brothers, Gallows and Anderson, who debuted in 2016 after a successful period in Japan attacking the Usos. Since then, they formed the OC and become Raw Tag Team Champions several times. And I think they'll be a big miss for WWE, as they were still part of the Boneyard match at WrestleMania, so I was surprised when these two were let go. This may just be a temporary thing, but if not, I think they may well go back to Japan. But on the other hand, some of their mates are running AEW now, so I think that could be a possibility. So I think they may sign a kind of joint contract that's saying they can work at both AEW and New Japan. Kids! Next up is Heath Slater. Obviously most famous in 2016, 2017, 2016, one of the two, for becoming the first ever SmackDown Tag Team champions with Rhino, multiple team champions, and of course a member of the infamous 3MB with 2 former champions, Drew McIntyre and Jinder Mahal. They've both been released before and come back to be champions. Why can't Heath Slater do it? And to be honest, I wouldn't actually be too surprised if he returns to WWE once this is all over. So this may be a bit of an outlandish prediction, but I'm going to predict that he's going to return to WWE. I am the Mozart of melody. Yes, if you can't guess, I'm talking about Aiden English. Aiden English debuted as part of the Vaudevillains with Simon Gotch, but when Simon Gotch was released, he joined up with part of Rusev and formed the infamous Rusev Day. And ever since they broke up, he's been a commentator on 205 Live and NXT UK, but was released. He said recently he still wants to wrestle, so I wouldn't be surprised if we saw him released to go and wrestle, and I can't see one of the major promotions signing him up, so I think it'll just be part of the indies. That's my prediction. Next up, Eric Young, who debuted in 2016 and was feuding with Samoa Joe for the NXT Championship, and then the following year formed part of Sanity with Nikki Cross, Alexandra Wolf, and it was someone else, the names escape me, but Killian Dane after that particular person got injured, whoever you are. Yes, and before that he was actually a mainstay of TNA/Impact, so I can see him making a return there once this is all over. So I think he'll be a main part of Impact again. Next up, the man who's in the top 1%, Ethan Carter III, simply known as EC3, who had a good little spell on NXT before being called up to the main roster and returning, well, pretty soon actually. Had a feud with Dean Ambrose, won once I think, and then lost a couple of times, and it's just been squashed ever since for some reason. I know he's been released, just very weird. He was a mainstay in TNA before he left to go to WWE, and I can see him returning there, but I also think he'd be a great match for AEW. So I'm saying I think AEW might just get him by a tiny bit and be kind of like Sean Spears, just up a mid card on there. So I'm predicting EC3 to AEW. Next up, Lio Rush. Lio Rush has had an interesting spell in WWE. Always seems to be in trouble with management, Vince, Triple H and co. Had some memorable moments. He was Cruiserweight champion for a little while. He was in that tag team with Bobby Lashley. That was all very weird. But never really done anything of note and spent most of his time sitting out in trouble. He seems like the sort of bloke TNA would pick up. So I'll go TNA, I think. You suck. You suck. You suck. You suck. Yes, perhaps the most surprising one on the list, Kurt Angle, who was released. He was currently a producer on Raw since retiring from the ring last year against Baron Corbin at WrestleMania. Fought several matches, even teamed up with the Shield once in a weird match at TLC. But his most notable thing he did since he returned was being the Raw GM. I think he'll be pretty much confirmed going to AEW as a potential occasional on-screen figure, but mainly a producer, which he was quite really getting his teeth stuck into, so a weird decision to let him go. Next up, the Riot Squads, or formerly of the Riot Squad, because the Riot Squad doesn't exist anymore, you see. Sarah Logan, not too surprised at this really. Last appearance on Raw this week in a Money in the Bank qualifier against Shayna Baszler, and she had a really nasty move to her, and actually thought it would cause some pain. Shayna Baszler basically stomped on her elbow, and yeah, it did look quite bad actually. She hasn't really done much really. Member of the Riot Squad, and then she's been off TV for the majority of the last year, so dare I say it, not too surprised. I think she might still go to a major promotion because she is quite talented in the ring, and there are women lacking, so I think she'll be wanted by a lot of companies, and I'm actually going to go for a bit of a outlandish one, and I'm going to go for Ring of Honor this time. I think they're trying to build up their women's division, and I think she'd be a good fit for them, and would definitely progress there on. Now, I said Kurt Angle was the most surprising, but I forgot this one happened. Not The Rock or Hulk Hogan, that referee in the bottom left. Mike Keota, who's been a referee for over 30 years, quite frankly a legend, and yeah, I was stunned when I heard this news. He's refereed several main events of WrestleMania, including Cena v Rock and Lesnar v Reigns. I think he may have done Rock v Austin as well. So I was staggered to hear this. Yeah, and I'm expecting him to end up in AEW because, well, they like hiring famous people like Jim Ross and Tony Schiavone and Chris Jericho. So I'm going to go AEW without a shadow of a doubt. Just one last time. That fucked up. Mike Keota. Now time for the oh my god, wait, what? They're still employed? Yes, the Clones have been in WWE for 12 years somehow, I think. Going through several characters, including the Shining Stars and Los Matadores, and were actually tag team champions at one point, believe it or not. They haven't been on TV for, well, I would say a couple of years now. Don't remember them anyway, or they might have just popped out once or twice just to fill numbers, like at the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. But yeah, I can't see anybody wanting them, so I imagine they'll just do some work on the indies unless they retire, which may be the best option for them at the moment, but I'll go for the indies. Next up, Rowan. I was actually shocked to hear of this because he was just feeling like he was starting to get a push. He was with Brian and then had that weird shark cage thing, and it turned out there was a spider in it, revealed in the backstage segment, even though they've been building up for 3 months, which I didn't really get. But except for that, I thought they were starting to push him, so I was surprised, and that makes me think this might just be a furlough for the time being while he wasn't doing anything. So I'm going to predict that he will be back in WWE at some point once this all is all over. Burning up in your love, burning up in your love, burning up inside your love. Stop myself now, otherwise I'll end up singing the whole thing, and you really don't want that. So Mike and Marie Kanellis had a pretty difficult time in WWE. Never really got up to much. They had a feud with Sami Zayn when they first arrived, but lost that, I'm pretty sure. Then did nothing. Mike had an addiction as well, which was very sad, but luckily he's come over that. Then they moved to 205 Live, recently signed new contracts, and now they've been let go. So, yeah, not a lot really happened in WWE for them. But they did come from Impact before, and they were quite big in Impact, so I imagine they'll return like most will do who've been in Impact previously. Because let's face it, AEW won't want them probably, so I'm going to say Impact. Now another surprising one, considering he's been with the WWE so long, Zack Ryder. Hasn't really done much of note though in any of his time really. Had his old gaming show thing several years ago now. Most recently part of the Hype Bros. Oh no, and Zack Ryder and Curt Hawkins. That's how unmemorable it was, even though they did win the tag titles at WrestleMania, but hasn't really done much, so it shouldn't really be a surprise. But given his longevity, I still think he might re-sign at some point. So I think he will come back to WWE at some point. Whether it's a producer, a trainee, or an actual wrestler, I don't know. But I think he'll come back to WWE once this whole thing's over. Next up, No Way Jose was always very entertaining as part of NXT, and then the main roster happened. Got called up the night after WrestleMania last year, I think, and it's basically been jobbed out since day one. Pointless thing coming out, really. As I thought he was really good on NXT, but hasn't really done enough, so might end up in Ring of Honor or something, or TNA. But I can see him just being out on the Indies, maybe Ring of Honor. So I'll say Ring of Honor and the Indies. Because I think we'll do both. Do you see what I mean? Yeah, right, good. Last but certainly not least, Rusev. Oh, poor old Rusev. What can you say? Came in, first year was absolute dominant, beating people like Jack Swagger, Big Show, Mark Henry, all over the show, and then fought John Cena at WrestleMania and came out on a freaking tank and still lost, and then lost again to John Cena. And then, everything went downhill since then, really. Had Rusev Day, but it's just been so underused. Could have been such a big player in WWE. It's a shame he never worked out, and I think he'll go to AEW, and I think he'll absolutely thrive in AEW and be a massive star. So, Rusev, good luck to you, my friend. Good at going and smash it in AEW. That's all for today, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to hit subscribe and let us know in the comments below what you think of my predictions, and let me know your predictions. Thank you very much for watching. Follow us on Twitter, link in the description below, and our other channels which will be appearing in a minute. Thank you very much for watching. See ya.